Hey guys, and welcome to Day by David. Today's topic is another classic and timeless Disney tale, one of the stupidest ones out there. That's right, I'm talking about Cinderella. At the beginning of the movie, we learn that Cinderella's father married Lady Tremaine, and then when he died, she forced Cinderella to become a maid to her and her two spoiled daughters. One beautiful morning, Cinderella gets woken up by all her adorable animal friends, of which, for some reason, only the mice can speak human English. The mice tell Cinderella that there's a new mouse in the house, caught inside a trap in the basement, so Cinderella goes down and frees him, puts a tiny green little t-shirt on him, and names him Gus. Through a series of mishaps, Gus ends up underneath a teacup on a breakfast platter that Cinderella is bringing to one of her stepsisters. Unlike Cinderella, who has no regards for personal hygiene, her stepsister Drusilla is disgusted by wild mice and the many, many diseases they carry, so naturally she flips out when she finds a mouse under her teacup. Even though she knows that Cinderella is innocent, Lady Tremaine, also known as the evil stepmother whose hair looks like a giant gray butt, decides to punish Cinderella by giving her an extra long list of chores for the day. Meanwhile, the king of the land really wants some grandchildren, so he tells the Grand Duke to arrange a ball and invite every eligible maiden in the kingdom so they can find a wife for his son, who doesn't even want to get married in the first place. When a royal proclamation about the ball comes to Cinderella's house, the evil stepmother tells her that she can go, as long as she finishes her chores and finds something suitable to wear. Because she doesn't have enough time to make a dress, all her parasite-ridden animal friends make it for her. The clock strikes 8 and the carriage arrives to take the family to the ball, but the evil stepmother has her two daughters rip up Cinderella's dress and they leave without her, so Cinderella runs into the backyard to cry about how miserable her life is. Then, out of nowhere, Cinderella's fairy godmother appears, and she's all bippity-boppity-boo up in here! She turns a pumpkin into a carriage, the mice into horses, the horse and the dog into a coachman and doorman, and gives Cinderella a big, huge, enormous, giant blue dress. She also gives her a pair of the most unsensible shoes in the history of forever. Glass slippers. One wrong step would send hundreds of shards deep into those dainty little feet of hers. Great idea, fairy godmother! The fairy godmother warns Cinderella that the spell will wear off at midnight and everything will return to normal. Cinderella goes to the ball, and when the prince sees her across the ballroom, he decides to go dance with her. They end up dancing around the palace grounds until the clock strikes midnight, at which point Cinderella freaks out and goes AWOL, leaving one of her glass slippers behind. When the Grand Duke sees that Cinderella is getting away, he decides to give chase by sending out the royal cavalry, which happens to be made of several black horses with glowing, red eyes. Usually, kings that have a cavalry of black horses with glowing red eyes aren't very benevolent rulers. Cinderella gets home just as the spell is broken, and the demon shadow horses ride obliviously past her. Everything from the spell goes back to normal. That is, except for the glass slippers, for some reason. The prince, who is now convinced that he's in love with this mystery woman, finds her glass slipper on the staircase and decides to try and use it to find her, since he didn't even get so much as her name in the 3 hours that they danced together. Now, Cinderella must have some kind of demented foot disease, because what are the odds that not one single woman in the entire kingdom has the same shoe size as her? The king sends out a proclamation that the Grand Duke is going to be trying the shoe on the foot of every maiden in every house. When Cinderella finds out about the proclamation and finds out that it was the prince she danced with the night before, she gets all romantic and starts humming the song from the ball. The evil stepmother hears Cinderella and realizes that it was her who was dancing with the prince at the ball the night before, so she goes all Rapunzel on her and locks her up in the tower. As the Grand Duke arrives, Cinderella tells her diseased mouse friends to go get the key from the stepmother's pocket. Obviously, the slipper doesn't fit on the giant swollen feet of her evil stepsisters, which buys the mice plenty of time to get the key up to Cinderella. The Grand Duke, who is getting tired of the stepsisters' shenanigans, is about to leave when Cinderella comes running down the stairs. He's going to try the slipper on her, but the evil stepmother trips his assistant, and the glass slipper goes crashing to the floor, shattering into 513 pieces. But hooray, hooray! Cinderella has the other slipper! Now, the Grand Duke doesn't take into account that Cinderella could have just made her own glass slipper that fit her perfectly, so when the shoe does fit, he trusts her, and she gets married to the prince that day. The end. Except, Did they even have a conversation? I mean, he didn't even know her name, and she didn't even know that he was the prince. They just danced together for a few hours, and then they got married. Oh well, that's a Disney princess movie for you. Hasty decisions in the realm of love. Is this what we want to be teaching our daughters? I don't think so. Cinderella and the prince's idea of true love is a horrible model for children. That's why I'm going to sue Walt Disney and force them to make an anti-Cinderella that shows what true love really is. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to ask questions in the comments, and I hope your day is better than the dozens of marriage counseling sessions that Cinderella and her prince are doubtless going to need.